Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the show. Very happy to have you all here. Hopefully, everybody had themselves a really, really good weekend. Mine was sunny-ish and quiet, which is good. But I'm sitting here with a nice hot cup of coffee on a gorgeous day, getting ready to talk about some nonsense in Hollywood and other entertainment medias. Happy to have you here. Keep in mind, in 2 days' time, of course, we have Buckbear's Basement, which we will be continuing the Umbral session, and we're having a lot of fun with that. So come check that out if the nerdiness of tabletop role playing is your thing. And then, of course, on the Thursday, we will be doing Drawn and Quartered Ultimate Edition with the Bloody Poo. You can take that any way you like.
A bloody poo.
The, the singular understood by the masses, Bloody Poo.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Hello, Thundero.
Hi,
Hi. Well, that was
how is
quaint.
Bugbear doing?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. Am I sounding more professional?
You sound wonderful,
I
Chester
sound good.
Busby. The
That's good.
13th, you sound wonderful.
That's right. I am the 13th one of me. But I just the world couldn't handle a 14th, so I didn't burden my son with the pressure of it. He is set Ryutaro. Yes. He is not Chester C. Busby the 14th. So
No.
lucky him. He's actually sitting here next to me today.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Trouble.
No, no, no. He's a good boy. He's
Two
actually
Busbys.
He's too good a boy, to be honest with you. When I was 24, I was way not good boy. Yeah.
Uh,
Goodness gracious, dude. When I was 24, I was literally touring Asia, right?
yeah. Making all
He's
kinds of bastards. I got it.
I know I was, yeah. But he's excessively responsible. I did something right. Oh goodness.
Y-
Those
Yeah,
accidents
you
do
your wife
happen.
your wife raised him. Got it.
Yeah, no, I didn't. No. Yeah. Quite the balance,
Uh,
actually. But fair enough.
that's
Fair. We'll
good.
give the credit where the credit is due. Nevertheless, we definitely got some stuff to get into. Before we get into those various things, though, I did want to talk about a couple of things that have been going on that I don't want to cover it. excuse me, in article per se. But one of those is I don't know if you've noticed this, but Britain is being Muslified or
Yeah.
Islamified. Maybe that sounds better. Islamified to an extreme rate because they're a bunch of cowards. They're a bunch of light-wristed cowards. Is really the problem with Britain, and it always has been. Of course, under that feminine veneer does lurk the heart of darkness, however. But nevertheless, we just had yet another incident, right? Two incidents the same day actually, and they kind of juxtapose in very beautiful ways. There was a girl at a school, and her ankles about I don't know 2.5 inches of ankle was showing, and the teacher
Oh,
demands she covered up her over sexuality. Now she's wearing a
oh
British
my.
uniform, pants, jacket. It's covers every damn thing. But those 2 inches of ankle, way too much. But at the same time, there was a boy who lost a Call of Duty game, and his punishment for doing so is a very autistic boy, they say, was to bring a Quran to school. The challenge. So he did, and when he was walking, he accidentally fell out of his book bag and fell on the ground. End of conversation. End of statement. Right.
Mm-mm.
But this offended the Muslims. How dare he? And to the point that death threats were flowing in for this boy who dropped a Quran and scuffed
Yep.
it in the most slight and minor way. And of course, he and the other boys who were had nothing to do with having the Quran, but they were his friends. So how dare they? They were all suspended from school. The police put out a statement saying that this is unacceptable racial hate, but not malicious. So the
What?
police made a statement. The mother had to get up and have a struggle session in front of the Muslims. And this is all in Warwick, by the way. Warwick, you know, this
Yep.
sounds a little British, but not anymore. It's majority Muslim now, I guess. And struggle session in front of the Muslims. They made her wear a burqa, or at least a headscarf. She had to get up and just begging, really, don't kill my son for daring to drop a Quran.
Yep.
And all of this is going on at the same time, and everyone in the government is like, horrible boy, just a horrible boy. But yet the girl, same time, right? Obviously, a Muslim teacher is chastising her and threatening her because she's showing 2 inches of ankle. Now, any opinions on that? I mean,
Britain is lost,
yeah,
and they betrayed every one of their ancestors and all of Europe entirely, as did many other countries, to
yeah,
bring in Muslims
yeah.
after literally thousands of years of opposing them violently to keep
Well,
them
a
out of
thousand
Europe.
years, yeah. Oh no, all
Yeah,
those crusades wasted, all of those French dead, oh,
yeah,
and all the Spanish, literally having to rally to drive them into the sea from Spain. France inadvertently, because of their victory over the Muslims, ended up with one of the best little breads. The
yeah,
croissant. That's very nice. After the Baltics and Eastern Europeans kicked them out, after they survived the terror of Tamerlane, after all
yeah,
of that bullshit, to keep them out of Europe, and they're absolutely, at least with the Islamists, insidious ways. No, just let them walk right in and let them take over. And of course, you're
yeah,
seeing what happens. You're seeing what happens. Anytime they enforce their will upon you, they threaten violence, and the cops don't do anything. I mean, I'm pretty sure in Britain, as with most countries, it's technically illegal to threaten death upon someone. You know, and
yes,
this kid had tons of death threats. Now they keep pushing the fact that he's autistic, and maybe he is. But clearly, if he's playing video games, he's highly functional. However, that don't give a shit about that. I could care less about that. You have grown adult men threatening the life of a child because he dared to drop your goddamn book. And it's a paper book, by the way, bought off
yeah,
of Amazon. It's a piece of shit. It's not like some other nice, beautifully leather bound, hard backed Quran. It's just a crap little, cliff note type of thing, right?
yep.
This is what's happening, and the British government seems a-okay with it. I'm sorry, is this? I didn't realize I was that miffed.
They Britain is lost. It's funny that you're talking about this because I literally recently had to listen to some, I don't even remember who it was now, but some British guy crying over the fact that Chester,
Mm,
words
mm.
are dangerous,
Oh,
and that people who get hurt because of things that they say, well, they should be more careful with what they say, you see.
oh, you think?
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, all right. Why does that only apply one way? Let's start there. And two, they have become so unbelievably cucked as a nation that there's no saving Britain. Britain's done. Britain will not be Britain anymore in 40 years. It's gone. It's over. Uh, because there's no coming back from what they've done. They've allowed, not only have they allowed Islamists in
Hmm.
huge numbers,
Hmm.
they've decided, somebody in their government has decided that to even criticize them is racism,
Yeah,
therefore punishable by law.
right.
Well,
Yeah,
you're going to lose this battle. I hope you know. I mean, there's no beating Islam unless you beat it with force when it's
yeah.
like that. When it's at this
Unfortunately,
level,
yeah.
that's the only way, historically speaking. So, I guess enjoy more rape gangs because that's what you're
Right.
going to have.
Exactly. And understand the distinction between Islamists and Muslims. To be fair, most Muslims would be happy as hell to get away from the Islamists. And the ones who
Yeah,
did escape to the West are probably the most pissed, right,
yeah.
that you've let them in. And Roger, seeing as war, I probably have used the title before, but it's a universal concept. Therefore, it doesn't get numbered. Tell
That's
the
true.
Germans that. Yeah. But see, that had an adjective in front of it, world war. Therefore, it can be
Yes.
numbered. But war itself is an eternal concept. Did I dodge that well?
you did something. I don't know if we'll
Fair,
call it well.
fair.
No, it's very frustrating because as an American, that's my mother nation
Mhm.
effectively. And they've completely abandoned anything that has anything to do with British style governance. It's gone. Like they had British style governance for almost 1,000 years, and they have utterly abandoned all reason and rationality to avoid offense. Offense has become the gravest possible of sins. To offend a brown person in Britain is I mean, they might as well just execute you. They
How
might as well
dare
because
thee? Yes,
yeah, you have besmirched the noble brown person, so you must pay the ultimate price.
yes, that is true.
The Brits unfortunately allowed this to happen. It's happening to America too, but they really allowed it to happen over there, and I really don't think there's any saving it now. I think the only way you'd ever have a possible chance of saving it is we would literally have to invade and set things right. Literally,
Yeah,
because
unfortunately, yeah.
there's just no way to. How you gonna? What are you gonna do? How you gonna ferret them all out? How you gonna get? First of all, how you gonna get the country when all political parties there 100% support them being there,
Yeah.
and do everything they can to make it literally a crime to criticize them? That's
Yeah, no,
insane.
it's insane. I mean, like I said, having warm feelings and friendship with Muslims and all that and not being mean, yeah, that's great, right? But we're not talking about Muslims. We're talking about Islamists.
Yep.
And the distinction is quite clear, because I've met plenty of great Muslims. But I have
Yeah.
appeased the Roger. I put again. I'm not going to put two because you told me to. So I used again.
I really hope I'm wrong and people of Britain can find their nuts again.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we have to understand this at one time was the home base of the largest empire in the world. The sun never set on the British Empire. It covered every corner of the
Mhm.
planet.
Mhm. Mhm.
And look at them now. They used to go, Chester, listen, these are people who drank some tea one time. They're
Mhm.
like, that shit's good. Where can we get more of it? And then they conquered that place to get more of it.
They did. They did. That is their modus operandi. Yeah.
Yeah. And now
To be sure.
they, I don't even know. They're afraid to say mean words because something Hitler. I don't know. I have no idea why they've become
Yeah.
such pussies. I don't know.
Yeah,
But they
no, the
are a
whole
nation of pussies. It's
arresting,
unbelievable.
yeah, arresting for words is weird. It definitely is very un-American anyway. But they are
It used
going
to
the
be
way of the
un-British.
dodo. It used to be, and the Canadians, of course, are much worse. But we're seeing many, many examples of these things across the world, and in many different forums. The big tete teacher in Canada finally got caught out not wearing the big tetes in public. And they're like, "You're not that way 24/7. Get out of our school, you cheetah!" And of course, that's very Canadian. That's how they sound. But
Yeah.
of course, he
Nailed
was trolling you. We all know he was trolling you day one, and you deserve the troll, you
it.
moron. I mean, is that too harsh? Can I be harsher?
Oh, I
But
can be
I
harsher if
know.
you'd
So,
like a strike on the channel.
yeah, well, fair enough. But that's funny. But at the same time, there's that story of that lady, that kind of rotund Latina, who wears a little fake. What do they call those? It's like a hair band. I'm sure they have a name for it. The thing they kind of just put it on the top of the head to keep the hair in place. That has cat ears on it because she's a furry, you see. And
Oh,
she's part of the town council in her area, and she was able to ban all the problematic stuff, just all of it, all of it.
man.
And of course, she's very upset if you don't refer to her by her proper pronouns because she is a furry after all. But she was caught in public not wearing the ears as well. No punishment,
Uh-oh.
however. No punishment.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Yeah, it's over. Like I know a lot of people like to be hopeful, blah 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 blah. No, the West is done. I don't think we're coming back. I
Mm.
don't. I want us to. I hope we're on the verge of a new renaissance and everything. We'll fix it this time, but nah, I think this is it.
Something will
I think
happen.
we're in the.
Let,
I think we're in the twilight of our civilization. To be completely honest with you,
maybe.
because
Let let's check in with a Japanese university student or a post university student and see how the infection has spread. Set, tell me, do you have weird kids at your university running around in furry costumes having strange sex? He says no. That was quick. And this
Japan
is
might not be
Japan.
lost.
This is Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, it's in Japan, just so you know, because they're
Yep.
weird, but not that
Yeah. Sure.
weird. Okay. Nevertheless,
No, it's a shame
that's
because
a
I
story.
think, honestly, unironically, that it will be the East that saves yet again. Actually, if you think about it, saves the values that made the West what it is.
Mhm.
And even in the Middle East, you have countries that are far more capitalist and meritocratic than the West is becoming.
Oh, sure.
Uh, and that's a good thing. I'm not besmirching them at all, but I just don't see how we come back. The infection's too bad.
It
Like
is. Now,
it's bad.
to be fair, on the other side of it, there are Muslims who do lots of wonderful things in Britain and Canada and stuff, and they try to lead by example because they can't fight the Islamists any more than we can. So unless you do it directly, right?
Yep.
And so there's plenty of examples of Muslims going out and helping in communities, doing things, because they're generally good people.
Hmm.
And I think it was a really good example of Muslims pushing back about the radical disrespect of the Christian church in Britain and how it's unacceptable. That's
Because
interesting,
it is.
right? Because the Christians and Jews are technically dhimmi, right? From a
Hmm.
Muslim point of view, which means they're tolerated is basically what it means.
Right.
If you're not associated with anything, well, you're just a friggin' heathen, right? But it's really neat to see Muslim groups pushing back against the disrespect of God in any form,
Well, a lot
and
of it
that's
is
pretty cool.
because yeah, a lot of it is because it is cool, but a lot of it is because people and even Muslims misunderstand. There are verses in the Quran and in the Hadiths that talk about kill the infidel, blah 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 blah.
Sure,
But Christians aren't infidels. Christians are not
dhimmi,
considered infidels
yeah,
properly.
they're
Right,
the
exactly.
people of
They're
the
the
book.
tolerated.
People of the
Right.
book.
The
Yeah.
people, all people of the book are not infidels. An
Pay
infidel
your
is a
taxes and
godless.
you shall live.
They're
That's what
they're a
that's in the
godless
Quran,
person,
by the way.
heathens,
Yeah.
pagans, whatever. Those are infidels. Those are people that he's talking about. Christianity has similar verses: "Burn a
Yeah.
witch, suffer not a witch to live." Things
Right.
like this.
Right.
Uh,
And Islamists don't get that
so
either. They don't understand that
exactly
either.
that's my
Yeah.
point. Is these radicals have decided that is inaccurate, and it just means anybody who doesn't submit to Islam is an infidel.
Mhm.
But that's not true. That's not at all true, actually. If you study any of the religion and any of the scholars, they pretty much all tell you that yeah, that what I just said is correct. That
Yeah.
it people of the book are not to be considered infidels or not to be
No.
harmed in any way as long as they pay their
Pay
little
their
tax.
taxes. They gotta pay their
Yeah.
taxes, their special taxes. Because I was watching the Lotus Eaters, Sargon of Akkad channel, newer channel,
Hmm.
and they covered this very clearly, and they were talking about, this where I'm kind of referring to it from. Um, and they were talking about there's another like wicked rich Middle Eastern oil baron type of Muslim guy, and he's very offended by the banking practices of the West because various most of history, if you charge more than 10% on any loan, this is considered usury, right? And it was often
Right.
punishable as a crime. In Islam, you're not allowed to charge any interest at all on a loan, right?
Correct.
And he's pushing back, and he's stated a plan to literally try to buy all the banks. He will fail,
Yeah. Oh,
but
he definitely will
he will
feel that.
definitely fail. However, it's an interesting stated plan, right?
It's
Uh,
uh
you know,
it's one of the many things that Christianity and Islam should share and do share.
mhm.
Usury is also a sin, had been a sin in Christianity for ever, up until very recently,
Yeah,
because it's wrong. You shouldn't charge interest on a loan when it's a loan, especially a personal loan. I could see a business loan, I could see the argument there, but a personal loan, no, I don't see any way you can justify that other than you're basically you're getting money for nothing. If you
Hmm.
want to make a fee for a loan, that's fine, but you pay that up front when you get the loan, or you
Right.
take it out of the loan. But usury is it's gross. And especially in America, Chester. I don't know what it's like over there, but in America now, most credit cards are over 20% interest.
Yeah,
Most
no,
credit
that's
cards are.
it's insane. It's insane.
That's insane.
Especially when you understand how the fiat currency system works, and understand the absolute rigged game that it is. And that in itself is unacceptable, right? But it
Yeah.
and there are some situations that are even worse than that. Correct? It's not
Yeah.
That's not the worst case scenario.
No.
So
There's in many states these are legal, and this there's no justifying this. There are places where you can go and get a loan on your paycheck, right?
right,
Those places have existed for a very long time. That
sure.
concept isn't necessarily a bad idea. The thing
Uh,
that's a bad idea is many of those places will charge you 1,000% interest if you don't pay on time. 1,000% interest. That's insanity.
that
That's a level of evil that I don't even understand how that's legal,
That's
but it is.
organized crime, is what that is.
Yes.
Um, uh,
Yes.
but here's the thing. I would just say, on the off cuff, having been a young man and all
Yep.
the stuff that you go through in your youth before you start learning shit. Yeah, don't do that. You know,
No.
don't
Don't do
take
that.
loans on
No.
your check. Don't take out credit
No.
cards. Don't use the credit cards. Don't use checks. Don't use any of that shit. Stop it.
No.
Live within your means precisely. And if that
Yes.
means cutting back on a bag of chips or extra back pack of cigarettes or whatever it may be, then that's what it means.
Don't
Stop
buy the
it.
video game. Wait for it to
Yes.
go on sale. Stuff
Right.
like that.
Stop.
Um,
Stop it. Yes.
that's a humongous problem is the proliferation of consumer credit, which is a much bigger discussion. But if I had my way, it would just about all be ended in this country. Like it would credit cards, all that stuff, at least as they are now, would be completely eradicated because there's just no justification for the behavior of these companies. The way that they're very predatory to the fact that
True, Rush.
when you turn 18 in America, they send you offers immediately,
Of
like day
course.
one.
Of course.
They're in the mail. That's predatory. I don't
It
care what
is
anybody
predatory. Of
says.
course it is. Yes.
They're coming after people who definitely don't know any better. They're 18 years old. That's insanity.
Yeah.
Now,
Hello,
if you're
Luke.
in you're like my age or you're like your age and you start getting credit cards and using them, you're probably financially more secure or at
Sure.
least financially more intelligent.
Hopefully.
Probably not as big of a deal. Hopefully, yes. But an 18-year-old has no business touching these sorts of things
Yeah.
unless it's like a really super super low limit and he's just using it to build up credit for the future. Okay, fine. But if they're offering you $5,000 limits or whatever, which I've seen for 18-year-olds coming from nice, wealthy families, that's nuts. That's insanity. That's
Yeah.
that's pure because of course an 18-year-old's like, "Fifth, I got $5,000. What can
No,
I
yeah,
buy?"
don't. Really, really don't. Here's the thing, and this is coming directly from experience for our younger viewers, which includes Thundero, right? I'm
Yeah,
52-year-old and I have zero debt. Hmm?
that's good.
Hmm?
That's the way to
Yeah.
be.
And you say, well, you have money, Chester. Bullshit. Bullshit. It's because I'm not dumb. I'm not a dumbass, right?
Yes.
Because and that's the reality of it.
And
Uh,
I am literally what we're talking about, and it wasn't necessarily my fault, but a big part of it was my fault too. But it was a convoluted issue where about when was it? About 8 years ago now, I did have to file bankruptcy because I overextended myself,
yeah,
and it was because it was just easy, right? They just give you all
yeah,
this credit, and you can just buy stuff and blah 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 blah. And I learned my lesson. Don't worry, I've learned my lesson, and now
yeah.
my credit's fantastic, absolutely wonderful credit. But my point is, that's why I think it should be illegal because I'm one of the smartest people I've ever known. And that's might sound arrogant, but it's the truth. I have a really high IQ, 145, 140, somewhere in that ballpark, depending on how much I've had to drink that day. Uh, and if I can fall for it, then anybody can fall for it. Anybody.
Well, the smarter you are, the
So
dumber you act, usually. Yeah.
that's true. It is weird how when the more intelligent you become, the more gullible you become. I
It
noticed
can
that in
be.
sales.
It can be. You have
That's
to
pretty
check yourself,
crazy.
and it really comes
Yeah.
down to checking yourself. You have to check yourself. But
Yep.
basically, my point is, if you're a younger person listening to my voice, don't do it, dude. Don't. Just tighten the buckle up, man. I mean, really. If you, so many
Increase your
people,
income.
well, yeah, but a lot of people said, "Oh, I don't have enough money," or "I don't have enough time." That's not true. You're lying.
That
You're
that is, yeah,
lying. You're lying.
yeah,
Now, I don't mean to be so harsh, but you are, right? You're lying
correct.
to yourself. People waste in this modern time waste money ridiculously, ridiculously.
Yep.
And if you
And
have it,
time.
go right and time. That's what I'm getting to. And if you have
Yep.
it, fine. You can do whatever you want with your money, but I'm saying don't overextend yourself. And the time
Yep.
thing, dude, when I was young, I said same dumbass shit. Now I understand what that actually means.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I guarantee you,
Well,
most of your day is spent doing nothing. And that's fine if that's
oh,
what you want
absolutely.
to do, but don't complain on the back end of it.
Well, and that's what I did for many years. Because I had the mentality of all my bills are paid, a roof over my head, I'm fat, got food in my belly, got my games if I want to play them. What more do I need? As I've gotten older, though, I realized the complete folly of that thinking because you just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You just don't know. Like right now, my roof, my freaking ceiling, right above my head, in fact, it's not doing it at the moment because it's dry out, just decided to start dripping on me. And I'm
Hmm.
like, ah, shit. So I
Yeah.
called my insurance company. The whole process has started. But my point is, you just never know when something like that's going to
Oh, no,
happen.
you do have to
There's
plan
no
for
way
those
to
things.
know.
But I mean,
Yeah.
also, if you're bored and want something to do, go outside, find a sharp rock, and grab a stick, whittle. I mean, it's
Well, no,
free.
a really good example or a really good idea. If you're a younger person, especially younger, like even younger than me, say you're in your 20s, there's no reason you shouldn't have at least one or two extra side incomes that you, unless you're like hardcore in school and you genuinely do not have the hours.
Right, right.
Otherwise, if you're not, if you're just working or you're going even to a normal schedule of school, there are so many ways to make money that are
Hmm.
not that hard. They just take time that other people don't have,
Right,
like cleaning gutters, like
right.
power washing a house,
Yep.
like selling furniture on
Hmm.
Facebook or whatever. There's so many ways you
Dude,
make a little bit of side money.
have you seen how much money those lawnmower dudes make? Not just doing the
Yes.
lawns, but on YouTube?
Listen to me.
Holy crap, dude. It's that
One of
whole
my
weird
closest
ass
friends,
ASMR thing, dude.
yes, one of my closest friends, his stepdad owns a lawn care business. He has 3 trucks. So in the summer, from
Mhm.
spring until late fall, he's got them out going, doing their deal. He's a multimillionaire,
I
and he
bet.
just has that one business. That's
Yep.
it.
Yep. Get at it. Get at it,
And
man.
and the and here's the thing, if you're young, right, I wish I was in my 20s right now because all these old guys who own all those businesses are retiring or dying, one or the other. So there is a huge gap in the market for service industry work right now.
Oh yeah.
I know for a fact there's guys in their 20s, early 20s, younger than your son even, who are making 6, 7 figures
Oh yeah.
just doing service businesses
Well,
because the people still need their houses cleaned. They still need their gutters cleaned. They're always going to need these things done,
that's true.
and a lot of people either are too lazy or too invested in whatever else they're doing to worry about it.
Well, they have to tell you how to live your life. You see, that takes up a lot of time.
Yes.
But no, like my kid, he's went to school and he's going to be an engineer doing his thing. And in the long run, he'll make some good money, but it'll take time. But if you have a kid that gets right out of high school and goes up and starts some little business or becomes a carpenter or electrician or something like that,
Yep.
straight out of high school, those dudes are making bank quick, quick,
Yep. My
right?
nephew,
Yeah.
he's 19. He's been working construction since he was 15. He does it full time.
Hmm.
He's doing all right. He still lives with his mom even. So he's sitting on some money. Um he's doing all right. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way. He's
My
not hurting at
family,
all.
my southern family is full of millionaire rednecks. What do they call
Yep.
them? Dick dynasties? Duck dynasties. Those, yeah.
Duck Dynasty. Yes.
Um, yeah. They those dudes. 'Cause like my uncle's a plumber. He makes
Yep.
bank, dude.
The, the big problem is there's so many people out here who just don't pay attention. They
Mm-mm.
don't have, as Andrew Tate's favorite word, perspicacity. They're not paying
Ooh,
attention to all
ooh,
the ways that there are around them to make money. One of the best things I ever heard Andrew
perspicacity.
Tate say, that's a good word. Yeah, I
It
like
is
that
a
word.
good word.
One of the best things I've ever heard him say, and it's very true, and even made me like go, huh. when you're driving down the street, right? Say it's just even a small town. All around you is millions of dollars. Millions of dollars have been spent to build up that street.
Yep.
Millions.
Yeah, yeah.
Why aren't you getting some of that money? Why aren't you somewhere in the chain so you're getting some?
Yeah. And it's true. My son likes Andrew Tate as well, which is weird, but
Uh-oh.
he does.
That's
He's
good.
smiling to himself over there. Well, I get it though. He's a successful youngish man, and you know what he's saying isn't wrong. He is a
Yep.
dick though.
Yep.
He is.
But the world
But
needs more
I
dicks.
guess we
Yes,
need
we
more
need more
dicks.
dicks.
I don't know.
Look at we
There's
were just
half the
talking about
planet's
Great
dicks.
Britain.
Yeah.
Look at Great Britain. They definitely need some more dick.
Well, they do, but the problem with the British is when they're 12-year-olds, they snip something. I don't know what they do, but
Oh,
there's snipping
goodness.
going on. That is for sure. But
My
nevertheless,
the whole point of my entire rant here can be summed up very simply. If you're a younger person, not too old to actually get out and do physical work,
yeah.
now is your chance
Oh yeah.
because especially we're entering into hard economic times. If you can get in there
Get
with a
in it.
really good price,
Hmm.
you can start stacking money and then buying up property because it's going to be on the it's all going to be on sale. People are going to need to sell it. I'm telling you, this will be the biggest opportunity probably of your entire life to become a young millionaire.
Yeah. No,
Get
that's what
after
I
it.
do. I flip things. Yeah.
Yep.
As well amongst other things, but yeah, no, it's definitely there's opportunity galore out there. But really, just put your nose down, get it done, and do not extend yourself. Do not.
Yes.
It's not as hard as it sounds. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into today's top stuff. I do have to end a little bit earlier because I have to take the boy into town to the train station. So let's go ahead and get right into it.
Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League faces backlash after Rocksteady reveals Battle Pass and online connection requirements for single player.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had a little something in my chest there. I couldn't get that title out.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But there's a couple things that interested me about this article that and I wanted to put in today's overall talk, right? One, the stupidity of it. There's no member of the Suicide Squad that even when they're all of them working hard together can deal with even one of the Justice League.
Yeah,
Even the weakest one, Batman, will go through them like butter, right?
easily.
There's nothing they can do to deal with the Justice League, let alone kill them. Now I get this is the thing where I forget what they call it, but where Superman loses his shit and kills Joker because he murdered Lois Lane. It's that
Injustice.
timeline. Injustice, yeah. But you ain't dealing with that. You especially ain't dealing with a Superman who's just said fuck it, dude, dude. You ain't dealing with that at all. I mean, Superman is holding back like 99% all the time. With a Superman
Yep.
that ain't he's done with it, he's done with it. I mean, that's dumb in and of itself. It's the same thing with Batman versus Superman. Fuck off. All right.
Yeah.
But this is continuing on with the Battle Pass. Now, Rocksteady here is a good company. Let's be fair, right? They put out some great fun games. And I'm sure this will be fun, but it's just the premise is dumb. However, they are saying, no, 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 our battle pass and all that stuff, it's just cosmetic. It's just cosmetic. Well, then why have it at all then? Why
That's a
have a
good
battle
question.
pass? If you want to sell cosmetics in some kind of store, okay, go ahead. But a battle pass to get cosmetics? What's your point? Well, and that's got to be a lie because otherwise, why be a battle pass? But this article goes into the fact that this has been soundly rejected from the gaming community, and many companies are retreating from the battle pass idea. Um, but yeah, Rocksteady seems to be going forward with it. But it also gets into DRM quite a bit. Now, DRM stands for Direct uh, uh, Resource Management or
Something like that, yeah.
no, direct
Rights management? I think it's
rights
rights management.
management, something like that. It's about making sure people aren't pirating their stuff, right?
Yeah.
And sorry for I am swearing a lot today. I do apologize. I watched Bernie Mac last night. It's his fault.
Uh-oh.
Bernie, I love Bernie. No, but the thing with Bernie, I mean, there's like if you ask someone what's your favorite comedian, that's a hard question, right? I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
But Bernie's always at the top for me, and the reason is because we're basically the same age, and I am that generation. I am exactly that, right? And Bernie's just funny as hell. If you ever watch Bernie Mac, it's vulgar as hell though. Understand? He
Yes.
does not play. But anyway, and I showed it to my son for the first time too. Anyway, DRM. They're trying to keep themselves from being pirated, which I understand that. I do get that. But they do it in a way where you have to be online, and that's where they can check. Like I play a game, a couple of them. I play ESO, which is an online MMO anyway. So oh
Yeah.
well. And I play The Sims. Those are mainly the two games I play. Right, or some
Hmm.
other kind of city builder. I like The Sims for, challenges. I like building, but whatever. I like The Sims. And that's online too to a point, right? But I don't care. I'm not stealing anything. What do I give a shit? But the gaming community at large really hates DRM, and I wanted to, other than this kind of Rocksteady being a little bit old fashioned here and not really, reading the tea leaves and seeing what's going on. Beyond that, I want you to explain to me, younger man, what is the
Hmm.
deal with why is people so pissy about DRM? I mean, shouldn't these people have the right to protect their IP? I mean,
Well, that's a different conversation. But
is
the
it?
reason why people are pissy, yes, the reason why people are pissy about it is because it's very intrusive, and it has been shown that it can affect performance. And some people don't necessarily have the nicest computer, right, or whatever. And it's also just a rights issue for the consumer. Why should they be able to force me to be online for a game that doesn't require it? I don't think they should, personally, but I don't get to make all the rules.
Mhm.
The other thing is, it's also stupid. It never works. The pirates always win, always, every time. You can even play ESO online. You can play that offline. You can pirate it, and basically what you do is you set up a fake server on your computer, so it thinks it's on a server, and bam, you can play it. Um,
Yeah,
you
that
can do
is
it with
single
WoW. You can do it
player.
with other
Yeah.
games too. My point is, these sorts of things never, ever, ever actually work. And all it does is it hinders the actual correct user, the person who bought it. It makes their life a little bit more annoying. Not
Usually that's true.
necessarily in a great way, just a little bit more annoying. And it's completely unnecessary. This idea, I don't know how many times this has to be proven for these companies to understand that piracy isn't their problem. Their problem is the pricing model. Some people are not going to pay for the game regardless. No matter what unless you're giving it away for free, they're never going to download it off your servers. And even if you're doing that, some people still won't. And the reason there's a myriad reason, but some people are not going to. This idea that these marketing people have convinced, mostly from finance people, have convinced themselves that if they stop one pirate, they will then somewhere down the line get one sale. That's retarded.
That's not,
That's
yeah,
not
that's
how
not
these
the way it
people work.
works. I get that
No.
concept, and you also have the issue where against the pirating and all those kind of things. But you also have the issue where they're not giving you physical copies anymore. It's all digital download.
Correct.
Now you can argue that on both, and this article, gets into that. But you can argue both sides of it. I mean, I prefer to have physical copy, but the simple fact of the matter is, how do gamers work? They play a game a little while, then they buy the next game and play that. So you're bitching about
Yeah.
something you actually don't even care about, really,
Correct.
right? But I
Yep.
guess it's just the principle, I suppose.
Yep. I think what they should, honestly, what every company should do is they should stop with this nonsense that's designed to stop piracy. One, it doesn't work. It's at best it gives them a little bit of time, maybe a month or two. I think the longest I've ever seen was about a year, but eventually the pirates broke it. Um, and two, piracy, wide scale piracy is if your game's good, is by far this. It's probably the second best marketing you could do besides letting somebody stream it. Other
Right,
than that,
right.
there's not much more. better ways to hook somebody than to give them your product. Listen, games companies, you all are greedy pricks. So take the hint
Sure.
from drug dealers and let people sample the product.
Yeah.
Just let us sample it, and if we like it, we'll come back for more.
That's true.
But because
Yeah.
you don't do that, because there's so many of these games that have no demos, they have no way for you to try the game out. They have no like a free weekend where you can play it for a weekend. Some companies do that stuff, but not all of them do. A lot of people, myself included, when I used to pirate more regularly, I would do it mainly for two reasons. One, to make sure my computer could run it because I didn't have a great computer, and
Mhm.
two, to make sure I even liked the son of a bitch.
Right.
Because especially back in the day on Steam, they didn't really have a refund policy on Steam. It was a pain. Now they do. They have as long as you haven't played it for
Oh,
more
it's
than 2
super
hours, you
efficient,
can
actually.
refund it. Yeah,
Super efficient. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but they didn't have that, and
No.
so you were stuck. You pay $50 for a game that sucks ass or doesn't run on your computer, and you just have to hope the publisher or the game company will give you a refund. They didn't. There was no guarantee,
Mm-hmm. That's
and
true.
that's what drives this sort of stuff. Plus,
Mhm.
the biggest singular game of all time is Minecraft, and it's not close as far as units sold of it. It is also the singular most pirated game of all time, and it's not close. And the creator of Minecraft was like, "Yeah, I don't care if they pirate my game. That's fine."
Yeah.
And the reason was
More
is
the
because he
merrier.
had the foresight, exactly, to be like, if they like it, they'll buy it later. And that's what I did. I pirated it first, and I bought it later.
No, fair enough.
And in
Well,
fact, I bought it twice.
oh,
Bought it
there you go.
twice for me and
Well,
my girlfriend.
well, the thing with it is though, like some years back, Sims 2, I think it was, or 3, 2 or 3, found its way on my computer accidentally, just fell in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course I played it like, oh, I like this game. And of course 3 is better than 4 in many ways. But
Hmm.
and of course the I've ended up buying that. And of course I bought 4 and I bought expansion packs. I just bought one the other day, $50.
Yep.
I got a
Mhm.
bunch of stuff. So you do tend, if it's something you like, you spend money on it. Like when you play those free, and that's why the free to play model has some validity.
That's why it
There's
works. Yep.
there's like a couple of just daily nonsense mobile games that I do. Right, one really.
Yes. Well, the
And
crazy thing about it is, Chester, you're a musician, right?
mm,
What do you think the radio is?
yeah.
Why do you think these
Oh,
companies let their songs be played on the radio?
well, yeah, but
It's the
like
same
it's
thing.
interesting because if a trailer comes up and we show a trailer, they copyright us,
Yeah,
strike us.
yeah. That's
It's
how
like,
much sense does
what?
that make?
That's free advertisement, you dumbass. But here in Japan, they
Yeah.
have anti-law. They have laws against that. So if you listen to the radio in
Good.
Japan, they never play the entirety of a song ever.
That's interesting.
No, it's
That's
stupid.
interesting.
But then again, Japanese
Well,
do a lot of
yes,
stupid ass shit.
it's stupid.
Yeah.
But my point is that's what in marketing it's called a lead magnet. And what it means is you give them something. Can be the whole thing, could be part of the thing, but the purpose of it is to get them on the hook so you can get more money out of people later. This is what all the gurus online do, every one of them, whether they're selling a fitness course or a financial course, whatever they're selling, they'll do some form of a lead magnet to get you on the hook. And once they've got you on the hook, then they start reeling you in. For some reason, these game companies have decided they're above this practice,
Mhm.
and you should just kneel to them and be grateful that they're giving you a game to buy, you pedant. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know
it is weird.
why so
It
many
is
of these
weird.
game companies have such animosity towards their player base. It's weird.
Yeah,
It's
because they're
so
dumb.
weird.
They're dumb. Yeah.
Yes, in many ways,
Yeah.
I
Just
agree.
they're
Yeah.
dumb. Yeah, it's very safe. Oh,
Well,
look, Harley Quinn has the dyke haircut. Shocking.
um, the thing about the whole DRM thing,
Thank you.
the digital rights BS, for a lot of it, it was a way to kneecap the secondary market.
Yep.
Oh, that's fair.
That's
That is
that
true.
was
Yeah.
and it did just that. That's why GameStop has been in the trouble it's been, is because DRM kneecapped, the secondary market, because you had this one line of code that was attached to a certain user and a certain system, and you couldn't take it nowhere.
Yep.
The problem with that, amongst many things, is it's short-sighted because there's a lot of people. I think that publishers just tend to ignore that, don't want to have to fucking have an internet connection just to play a single player portion of a game, like, the Suicide Squad game where just to play the fucking campaign you have to be online, which is ludicrous. You When you do that, you're kind of killing the ability, the old word of mouth, or in this case, sharing, like, your next door neighbor had a Nintendo, you had a Nintendo.
Right.
They had games you didn't have, but you had games they didn't have. So you play one game, you're like, hey, I'm done with this. You want to try it? And swap it out. It's like, yo,
Yeah.
can I borrow your Ninja Turtles? Yeah, here, you can borrow my
Right.
Zelda.
Exactly. It's like
And
it's like punishing people for mixtapes. What?
and and Microsoft and Sony came around to the idea of, they have things in place where you can game share with other authorized users, but you still have to be online to use it.
Mhm. Well, actually,
I guess.
it mentions in this article that PlayStation is all for it. They're and not really DRM. They're happy to have people share stuff around. So PlayStation seems to get it, right?
They said that before. They said they was anti DRM,
They did.
and then I remember watching a streamer, and this was years ago, where they was trying to play one of the WWE games, and the game would not let you go past the start menu unless you was online
Yeah. Yeah. It's dumb.
because it had DRM.
Yeah.
So
I
Sony says that, but Sony
it's
only
Sony is
says
full of
that
shit. All
because
right,
it
fine.
sounds good.
I do have to say with this game, just to mention the game itself, even though the premise is stupid, it does look good though. It looks pretty. However, what the hell happened to Harley? I mean, this looks really nice, and then we come across this
Um,
photo and we see Harley. It's like that looks like a dude in makeup. What?
Social media has happened to Harley. That's so. I don't think there's a single character that has been ruined more by social media than Harley Quinn.
I remember not too long ago. You remember the contest to draw
Yeah.
the fan art to draw Harley Quinn, and the winner, I mean,
Mhm.
smoking as Harley Quinn. Dude, that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But whatever. Rocksteady. Oh no, not Rocksteady. Is it Rocksteady? No,
It is Rocksteady.
it is Rocksteady. Yeah, I think it's
It's
Rocksteady.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, Rocksteady, dumbass. All right. So you're just and this is an old argument, and people don't like it. What are you doing? Stop it. Stop it. But of course, we need to
Just
move on to more important things because this is a kind of war too. We've talked about many things today that are war on in different fields, different forms, right? A war against consumers, a war against children, a war against religious groups, et cetera, et cetera. Here's a war.
Ukraine government reportedly intent on requesting Atomic Heart be banned from sale within their borders. Urges digital retailers to limit distribution to other countries.
Okay. Now, what we've discussed on this channel many times, the level of corruption in Ukraine, and the idiot that's running the things over there. Well, he's not really running it, is he? But Zelensky. But of course, don't sell this game. Don't allow anybody to do this game. And this game's quite doing fairly well. People like it. It's fun. It's created, all kinds of different memes and all kind of interaction on the internet. Good for them. So, all right, let's get this game that is you know, tangentially talking about the old Soviet Union what if situation. Let's see here. Why would Zelensky's government want to ban this game? I don't know. Let's see here. The game is created by Focus Entertainment, which is in France. It's French game.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, get the I'm on board with this Grimlock. Get the damn French. Fair. Okay, and Atomic Heart itself, the video game, is being produced by Mudfish, and Mudfish is in Cyprus. Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Curious.
Curious. Now, it seems like they do have a couple of designers that are Russian, and they do have an actual Moscow headquarter where they do some stuff, or So there are Russians involved in it, but it's not a Russian game. It is It is Russian via Cyprus and France. Zelensky. Really, of course, what this comes down to is no one doing the goddamn research. You know how long it took me to find that information? Would you like to guess, Thundero?
5 minutes.
Oh, 20 seconds. Yeah. No, seriously. Atomic Hearts wiki. Oh, boom, boom. What's this? Focus Entertainment. Click. Oh, okay. What? Mudfish? What's that? Click. That's it.
Yeah.
It took no time for me to find the information that this isn't even a Russian game. This is a French game made by one of their subsidiaries in Cyprus. Right? But it just goes to show these freaking progressives. They don't do the research. They don't do any work. It took me 20 seconds to realize this game has nothing to do with Russia itself at all. Right?
Yep.
20 seconds of just and using freaking Wikipedia of all things. Right? I mean, it's insane, dude. That the nonsense. And here we have the leader, an embattled leader of a country, calling for the banning of a French game. Good job.
Yep. Well, I mean, Zelensky's a pseudo-fascist anyway.
Well, that's true. Fuck them French.
But this, it's so petty. This is some Xi Jinping energy right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so petty, bro, because it's about Russia. It's about Russia,
about
so
Russia.
therefore,
Kinda.
Ukrainians
Not
aren't
really.
allowed to have it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine.
By the way, we're talking about measures that don't work. This doesn't work ever either.
No.
People in Ukraine, if they want to get this game, they'll get the game. Don't worry. They will.
Boycotts don't work, boycotts do. And that's just simply the truth. But you know, it's one thing if he wants to ban it in his country, because the Zelensky regime, you know, if you have a different opinion, you're not allowed to say it. If you're part of a different political party, you're not allowed to exist. This guy is an absolute tyrant. He's an absolute tyrant, right? And the media just doesn't talk about it. But I mean, fine, if he wants to do that, he has a death grip on Ukraine, or what's left of it. But to urge digital retailers to limit distribution to other countries, fuck you straight, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, who do you think you are, man?
Wholeheartedly agree. I honestly, I didn't even know about this game until like 2 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden I saw these trailers. Like, oh, well, that looks like Soviet Fallout. That's rad.
Yeah. Well, mostly people say it's okay. Yeah, it's fine.
You know, which is fine. We need Chester. See, this is the crazy thing. When I was a young spry young man, late teens, early 20s, right in the middle of that PS2 era, we had games. We had so many games, we didn't know what to do with them. Like there was just a game. There was a game every week. There was 5-10 games every week,
and
some of them were good.
Was cool.
Yeah, some of them were good. Some of them were trash. A lot of them were trash. But they existed, and you could play them. And now, I mean, it's especially if you're a
Pitfall 3D. Are you daring to do that?
I am doing exactly.
Be like
it's sparse out here. Like there's people who are still like streamers, especially. They're still playing games that are like 3 or 4 or 5 years old, if not older,
or more.
Yeah. Because there's just nothing to play. They don't have it. You can play. Yeah, you can play the new Hogwarts game. Okay, that'll take you. If you're streaming it, probably only 3 or 4 days. If you're streaming at a full-time schedule.
Right.
Okay. And then what? Then what?
Well, you know, it's interesting. You talk about games that have legs. Dragon Raja, which probably most of you don't know, is a cross-platform game that's been around for about a decade, right? Or so. And they just came out with a new class, so they spent a lot of money on the various YouTubers like Raptor and some of the other guys who do those kind of things, Lazy Peon and MMO Bytes and those kind of guys, spending money on them to advertise. It's like the best spending of your money you can do is to have a YouTuber play your game. But that game still looks great and fun. These guys are pushing it, especially Raptor. He will be straight up honest whether he likes it or not, no matter what he's getting paid. But that game is old, dude. Old. Final Fantasy 14, old. People are still playing it. ESO I'm playing is what, 6 years, 7 years old? Right? Sims is what, a decade? I mean, that's the thing. These new games are not holding our attention. The old games are.
No,
That's weird, Grimlock.
it's pretty weird.
It's not because so many games now are this games as a service shit's got to go. Let's just say it for what it is. That shit's got to go.
I agree.
It
This
does. Yeah.
I'm gonna spend $70, $60 to buy a base game that's usually nowadays it's become a standard that's not even ready day one without a fucking patch.
Yeah, no, that's
And then
ridiculous,
spend
dude. Relying on
an
modders. Oh, it's
additional
disgusting.
relying on modders, then spending anywhere between an additional $60 to $100 per year just to play the fucking
Right.
game, get
Yeah.
get some perks, get
More of
some
that
maybe
strawberry
get a
icy.
cool weapon and
What's going on there?
or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you guys are saying it. Like I've been sitting over here playing fucking Empire of Sin
Oh, well, that's a
and
great game,
Metroid
dude.
and Metroid 2 Return of Samus.
Right. That's it's weird, and you know what? Another reason, because clearly they're not holding our attention. The old games are, so they're doing something wrong, right? But here's another
Mhm.
thing with games of service that most people don't mention. They complain about all the other stuff that's being complained about here today, but what they also don't mention, it makes the company lazy. Because if they're
Yeah.
constantly pushing the fact that just okay, we're going to make money on these guys year after year, that's their whole focus. They're not hungry. They're not mean, lean fighting machines, right? You can need to get out there, and every year you want to put yourself in such a schedule. Every year or two, there's a new game coming out from your studio, unless you're a little teeny one. But if you're a bigger studio, you should have at least 5 teams running, right? At least. And
Yep.
this would allow you every 5 years to drop a game from a really good game from each team, and you have all those teams, set up where they're dropping every year. You got a new game coming out every year. It's cool, and then on to the next one. We're not looking at squeezing every penny out of that game. That game's out there. Hopefully, it hits. We did a good job. Next. And this is why I think is because they're so desperate to keep making money on that one little product instead of really moving forward. And this has really killed us because this little conversation we're having about people, not glomming onto, not being enamored with these new games, they don't last. It's really telling because everybody, you go look at any YouTuber, gamer YouTube, they're playing old games. Dude, people are still playing WoW.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's still huge.
Yep.
I mean,
Accurate.
it's something very, very telling psychologically is going on here, right?
There's a lot of factors to it, but one of the main ones is older games, especially WoW is a great example, and even modern WoW to some extent. Older games were designed not to. They were just what's the word I'm looking for? They weren't designed in a formulaic manner. At least not as much as they are now. Now they're designed specifically to pinch as many pennies out of you as they possibly can.
Right. No, they just, hey, I got a
Which
cool
is
idea. Let's make a game. It's
exactly.
just like
Or
remake
this would be
everything
fun.
society today.
Yeah, this would be fun. Let's try this, and they did it.
Mhm.
Which is one of the good things I will say about like the Hogwarts game. I think that trend is slowly swinging back the other way. The Hogwarts game, Hogwarts Legacy, is a good example. There's not a lot of. I don't think there's. I think there's like 1 or 2 packs you can buy of like gear, cosmetics or something. But it's not anything. It's not like a lot of games. Let's put it that way, where it's
Yeah.
just obscene. And I think that's the sort of stuff we need to see. We need to see big games that hit huge that just don't play that game. The reason why CD Projekt Red became the most beloved studio in the world until Cyberpunk was because they gave away so much of that stuff for free. They
Yeah.
just gave it to you. It was yours
It was
now.
love
And then they
affair.
would charge you. Yeah, they would charge you for a big expansion pack. That was an
Right.
actual expansion pack.
Join our community.
That is how it should be. That is how it should be. That is how a company shows you that they actually do care about you as a customer. You are not just a number on a spreadsheet to them, and even if you are, they're at least not treating you like you are. That is the way it should be. But because that's how their games specifically are able to retain people, or Elder Scrolls games are able to retain people. A lot of that's due to modders, but regardless,
Yeah, it is.
they do. people come
They
back
do.
and play that. But in fairness
do.
to Bethesda, they embraced the modders. They didn't push them away. They didn't make it hard for them to mod. It's easy as
Smartest thing
hell.
they ever did. Yeah.
Oh, it's so easy
Smartest
to
thing
mod
they
a
ever
Bethesda
did.
game. I've modded a Bethesda game, and I'm a dumbass when it comes to programming. But I did it.
I can't get them to work though.
Oh no, Chester. I bet your son could teach. I bet he could get it working
I bet
for
you
you.
he could, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because like with The Sims, like if there's like a new house or some new, clothing techniques or like feet. I know I downloaded the mod for feet because the feet look horrible in the game, and then some
Yep.
modder made the feet better. I downloaded that. Better looking faces, clothing stuff, hair. Because there
Yep.
some people that are amazing stuff with hair, but that's so easy. All I do is I download that mod and then I take it and I just literally copy and paste it into the mod folder. Finished.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the Skyrim stuff and those various games, they're not that simple, dude.
It depends on the mod. They have mods that are that simple. But if it's a really complex one, sometimes you got to do a little more.
Yeah, I just
Um,
don't. I haven't bothered because I don't really play. To be fair, I don't play those games. I play as
yep.
ESO, but that's different. This game right here, we're talking about Atomic Hearts. It's definitely the Fallout formula, obviously, but it is unique. It's different. It is, and people are kind of enjoying it. Like I said, it isn't hit huge, but I haven't heard much negative about it until this. Yeah, they're even mentioning their main office is in Cyprus. Yeah, I know. I know, dude. I did 20 seconds of research. Yeah, but I mean, this is
And
what you
the
want.
crazy thing
It's cool,
is it
interesting
looks
ideas.
exactly, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Is this is such a cool idea, such a cool take. I watched the trailer to it, and it just looks like a fun game. It doesn't look like they were trying to make the next freaking masterpiece, or
No,
they weren't trying to make a work of art. I cannot stand when these game developers think their stuff's art. Listen, it can be art if you're really really good at it, but if what you're setting out to make is art, it's gonna be shit.
yeah,
It
yeah,
just
yeah.
is.
No, this game is about the folly of man. It's just
Yeah,
set in
and
a
it's fun.
pseudo Soviet Union. Yeah, that's
It
all it is.
looks fun. Looks zany. It looks zany and wacky and really fast paced. That was what I noticed in the trailer. I was like, "Holy crap!
I
This
I
is some
actually
fast action."
I actually watched some gameplay. I watched Raptor play it, and it actually got quite a bit of comedy in it, actually.
Good, good. See, because old Fallout games and new Fallout games have some too, but old Fallout games had a ton of comedy in them. They were very sarcastic.
Oh yeah, that's
Um,
true. That is true. And
so it's nice.
if you want to watch gameplay of this Atomic Hearts, I would suggest finding Markiplier. He's probably done a video on this. He would be the best in this case because he's going to scream a
Mm.
lot and it's funny. But anyway, this is this conversation is deeper than just this game, right? It's talking about war, the war against you and your thoughts and your ideas and what you're allowed to say. There are so many things going on these days that when I was a kid would be freaking sacrilege as an American.
Yep.
You're
Well,
not allowed to
I'm
think something. You're not allowed to say something. Excuse me?
well. I'm about to say something that might be a little bit controversial. I'm sick and tired of fucking Zelensky, and I hope they
Oh
take
no.
his ass.
No, he's an absolute tool. And he's a tyrant too. If you pay attention at all, this guy is incredibly tyrannical. But
You want to know what's interesting?
the Russians
This
won
main
this a long time
character
ago
here.
anyway.
Yeah, it's over. This main character here looks an awful lot. Maybe it's just my eyes tricking. Grimlock. Oh
Excuse
my
me.
Jesus,
goodness.
Grimlock.
It looks an
Excuse
awful
me. That
lot
came out of
like
nowhere.
No, it came out your
Malachi
damn
Black.
ass. Oh, excuse me.
Malachi Black, the wrestler.
Oh,
He
does
just
it?
reminds me of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to
So
say
that's
the
just
Iron Sheik, and I would have been on board.
no. Oh man. Oh, the Iron Sheik.
Oh,
I love me
Sheiky.
some Sheiky baby.
Yeah.
Oh, Sheiky baby. I love him.
He's
How
great
can
in
you
this
hate him?
modern age too, because he's like, he basically fuck all y'all, right? You get him, Sheiky. He's awesome. Oh, goodness gracious. But anyway, 20 seconds research. 20 seconds. And now, to be fair, to follow that up,
Munfish apologizes for old Soviet Union cartoon clip accused of racism in Atomic Heart. Says we will edit the parts in
They
question.
shouldn't.
Oh, they should.
But for the Russians or excuse me, the people who are under the Soviet Union, which is quite a different, quite a disparity of disparate of different countries and cultures, right?
Yes.
But all of them, the older ones, would see this and probably have a chuckle of nostalgia. So they shouldn't touch it, and that's why they put it in there. And first of all, Russia, you didn't do well in the civics because the African tribesmen. First of all, don't wear feathers like that. That's more like a Native American. And they don't shoot the bow. They don't have bow level technology. They have sticks,
Yeah.
stones, and spears. They don't have bow technology. You don't see African tribesmen running around with bows, right? They don't have it because they didn't evolve that technology. The last greatest innovator of Africa was a man named Shaka Zulu, and it was like 100 years ago. And he innovated and was incredibly successful. The Zulus to come down East Africa and murder their way all into South Africa and kill every damn black person they found. You know how they did it? He put sandals on his men, and he shortened their spear. You go, Shaka. You go. They don't have bow technology. Russia. God damn it.
See, they didn't do the research,
They
Chester.
didn't.
See?
They didn't. Because it's clearly a black
Yeah.
man, right? It's clearly that kind of, 100 years ago caricature of a black dude, right?
Yeah.
But he's got the kind of Indian feathers and a bow. This is not, what is this? I don't
Russian
know.
mods.
Russia. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's Russia.
It's Russia. But nevertheless, so first of all, Mudfish, never apologize. Or Mundfish, I do apologize. Never, ever apologize to these people. Second of all, you have nothing to apologize for. It's a little nostalgic clip you threw in for those older people from the Soviet Union that would recognize it. Tell them the fuck off. Or you know what? Don't say anything.
Yeah, just ignore it.
Yeah,
Doesn't
just
matter.
ignore it. Because who cares? It is what it is, man. It is what
The
it is.
vast majority of people wouldn't even have seen it. Right? They're not gonna, unless it's like a cut scene that you can't skip, or it's it's right in your face. If it's just something off to the side, most people would have missed it anyway.
Right.
So
But it's, okay, you're going to complain about this, but where am I seeing anyone complaining about the depiction of Irish people, the Mick, or the Italian WAP, or whatever, the Pole, or any of the groups that have very recognizable caricatures? No one complains about those. The only one they complain about is black people and Jews. That's it.
yeah, which is
And
not,
it's
well, they sometimes you'll hear them complain about Mexicans too, which is weird to me.
well, hey,
Because
dude.
Mexicans aren't the ones complaining. They think it's cool if people are wearing sombreros and shit.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
they
let's
do.
party.
They're
They're ready to party.
They
That's my
are.
point. They're down.
Like
Yeah.
And Gabriel Iglesias is the new Speedy Gonzalez. So luckily we didn't lose Speedy. They just made sure it was a Mexican or a Mexican American. But that is awesome. Because have you heard his Speedy?
I have not.
Oh,
Actually,
he's wonderful. It's wonderful, dude. It's just right.
That's
It's
good.
just right.
That's
And he explained in his last stand-up where how he got the job, and he kind of understood why he got the job. After a little bit, it dawned on him why he was being approached, but he didn't understand the nonsense because Speedy's awesome. He's a hero. What are you talking about?
yes.
It's true, right?
How dare he actually sound like Mexicans?
Yes.
That bastard.
And
I
dare
like
you do that?
Slowpoke Rodriguez.
well, don't ignore the
That's-
wisdom of Slowpoke Rodriguez now. Come on.
That's
So
right.
Slowpoke was packing.
He was backing. He was. Don't you mess with Slowpoke. But anyway, what an interesting little tally of information here. And
It's just
let's.
so stupid. I wish these, and I think some of them are starting to. I wish more and more of these companies, game companies, entertainment companies, whatever, would just stop listening to Twitter. Just stop. It doesn't
Right.
matter. They
Well-
cannot stop people from seeing your movie. They'll never succeed or play in your
True.
game.
But
They failed every time.
they have. But they can legislate it. You see, because they can legislate you and force the companies to tell the stories they want, and therefore inundate you with propaganda. Here we go.
California proposing withholding new tax credit from Hollywood productions unless they quote, set ethnic, racial, and gender diversity goals and develop a plan to achieve them.
So,
Listen,
yeah,
these lawsuits are going to be glorious to watch. Let's start there. And
Yeah.
two, it doesn't matter because Hollywood's influence is basically dead
it is
outside of
waned incredibly so. That's true.
outside of the cities or outside, and not even just the cities, outside of, well, California. Nobody really cares anymore. I'm just telling you the truth. In America, it's the best example I can give you is last year with Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick did amazing, huge numbers in America.
Oh no, it's
You know
very
why?
in your face, right?
It's very simple. Why is because it was just a damn movie
It was just
and
a
a good
fun
one.
movie. Yeah, and that's true. But it was just a fun movie. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, just to kind of dig into this a little bit. Basically, what the California government is doing is they're putting out new tax credits for making movies, but you can only get them if you're doing the correct non-whitening of the movie. And they need them in the studios to get this newly generated tax revenue. They must show that they have a future plan of doing the same. It's not just making a movie where Tinkerbell is black and Peter Pan is an Indian boy. They have to show progress, right? And of course, this guy, the fact that he was reinstated, California's gone. It's just insanity. This guy does not care about you. It's clear to anybody who's paying attention as a voter in California, this guy does not care about you. He's a vainglorious twat. Yes,
Yep.
I used the word. Yeah, come
Well,
at me, bro.
here's the funny thing. You know what? I'm for this. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm for them forcing more affirmative action on them.
Mm,
Because these fucking idiots like Newsom is too fucking stupid to see that over the last 3 years you're not gaining businesses, you're losing businesses,
mhm.
right?
Oh yeah,
You
they're
had
losing
Joe
like
Rogan,
crazy. Yeah.
you had Joe Rogan pack up and leave. You've had other people pack up and leave,
Oh, a lot of big companies.
and
Yeah.
and while people are not talking about this, the SmackDown DeSantis just officially put on Disney in fucking Florida. Guess what doing stupid shit like this is gonna do?
More.
You're gonna make places like Georgia and Tennessee and Texas fucking their job markets are about to boom
They already are.
because no, even more so. Like I know that Texas has especially, but as quietly as it's kept, Georgia is a good gets a lot of Hollywood productions
They
happen
do.
in Georgia,
They have good tax
and
credits.
it'll be even more so because where where would you rather be?
Well,
Fucking having to sit here and pay hundreds of millions of dollars. Now you have to come up with an approved affirmative action plan. It's not enough that you already been forcing that shit up the ass for the last 10 years. Now you're going to have to do a state approved affirmative action plan. That's going to lose you money because people aren't going to these fucking movies.
Yep.
Well, they are losing money. We know a lot of it. Like CNN hasn't made money in a very long time, but it's a mouthpiece.
Was that
However, I do have to ask the resident black man a question.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
Yes. Are they not going to catch some kickback and flap from having nappy-haired girls in their movie?
No, because
Because that nappy-haired, you know how black women are about their hair. I mean, they are freaking suicide
well,
bombers, dude.
part of it is they'll just say it's their natural hair, which that is not their natural hair to
Of
look
course
like
it's
they
not.
just woke up out of bed.
They're nappy-haired.
I mean,
I thought that was
yes,
offensive.
curly, yes, but no, that shit just straight up lazy. But nobody's gonna watch this. First of all, you didn't turn. I mean, that whole Peter Pan thing is just a bunch of fucking check boxes.
Yeah.
That movie is gonna bomb faster than a Japanese kamikaze pilot.
She is cute though,
It,
Tinkerbell.
it is. She is. I mean, and it's kind of ironic that they cast Tinkerbell as a black woman because Tinkerbell acts like a black woman.
Oh my.
But
I'm having a Sulu moment. Give me a second.
Ugh. Get that faggotry off the screen.
Oh. No, ma'am.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, man.
And the worst part about that one is I don't hate the idea of Namor being, Mesoamerican.
Yeah, no, I didn't
think
either.
that's-
I did.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting idea. They didn't pull it off in any way, shape, or form because one, they picked the absolute wrong person to play him. I mean, he's not intimidating. He's nothing about him is Namor.
Well, they cucked him the
And
hell
two-
out too. Yeah.
And they cucked him the hell out by the end of the movie. So he's not even in personality is he Namor.
No.
Dumb, just
Ooh.
dumb.
Ooh.
By the way, that's fine right there, though. You see,
Not
that won't offend the new laws one bit.
not
You see all these
attractive.
black-
Although she is
Yeah.
a banger, though. Angela is a banger, without question. She's an old lady and she's still bang, dude. Damn, you go, Angela. See, I do find occasional black ladies attractive. They just have to be actually attractive, Thundera.
That helps.
It
Yeah.
helps. I mean,
It
because
does
she's
help.
pretty lady. That the girl playing Tinkerbell's pretty. Fair enough. Oh, all right. Well, that explains a lot. Alrighty. She's pretty
Yep.
too. Let's see here. Gayness. Yeah, sluttery. Pure. Why did they think this was a good idea to make She-Hulk a raw slut? No, seriously, they're trying to push their message, right? And they just made her a hardcore slut. Middle-aged, ain't going to get married, never have no kids, slut. Why did they think that was a good idea? I don't understand. I'm confused.
Because your boy Kevin Feige decided that he was gonna have this phase of MCU by hiring every talentless Rick and Morty writer he could find, and Jessica Gao being amongst the least talented of them all, just wrote herself as what she is. An alcoholic whore who's mad that men will, if there's enough alcohol present, will fuck her but not date or marry her.
Yeah, well, I don't know anything about the actress lady. She just took a job. I don't know anything about her. But the character.
No,
they're
not her. I'm
portraying-
talking about the writer.
Oh, I see. Oh, I don't know her.
I'm talking
either.
about the writer.
Fair enough. And maybe she is drawing from what you know, writing from what you know, which is kind of what you're supposed to do, to be fair. But I just thought it was a strange thing. You're trying to push her as a feminist hero, which, fair enough, She-Hulk could easily be a great feminist hero, right? But they made her like the worst creepy stereotype of the broken middle-aged American woman. It's like, that's weird. It's not empowering. It's like this Dylan Mulvaney, this boy who runs around having his every day is his day of being a girl thing, and it looks to me like a complete troll. But however,
It's an insult to womanhood.
it is because he's the most stereotypical female. It's stereotypical feminine and the insulting types of stereotypes as well. But yet they embrace it. It's like, well, I don't get it. This is not empowering women. We see so many things these days that are actually not empowering women. I have no trouble with empowering women. What's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that. But they're not doing it. And this rate, I know it's not on the exact topic we're talking about. This picture's caught my attention, but it's like, wow, dude. Wow, she is the worst of the worst. How could you do this and think you're actually creating a good image for women? Oh my God, dude.
Here's why. All you have to do is you look at that first issue of Sensational She-Hulk by John Byrne. You look at how he drew Jen, and you look at how they portrayed Jen, and see which one they like and which one they hated. Yeah. It's not hard to see. They hated that Jen was everything they say they want, except that she wasn't. Jen was actually confident as She-Hulk.
Yeah.
She was comfortable in her sexuality, not a slut, till Dan Slott got a hold of her.
That's true. That's true until that, but she wasn't. Yeah, and of course the comedy happened around her, which is I really didn't care for that. But I get your point. Yeah.
It was everything. Like, she loved being a hero.
Mm-hmm.
She saw it as an opportunity to actively make a difference, whereas these people think that making a difference is putting a hashtag in your Twitter bio.
Yeah, no,
because these people,
I get it.
You said they write about what they know. Well, all they write about is being pretentious Southern California white liberals, and
Right.
only appeals to another Southern California white liberal woman.
Yeah, and they could have done so many different things with this as well. I mean, I have nothing against this lady. I don't know her at all.
She she
But
was the right casting, but I'm gonna be honest. After some of the things she said in interviews, fuck her too.
all right, fine. I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm just saying, for a middle-aged lady, she kept herself in pretty good shape. Good on you. But why didn't you, if this is the story you want to tell, if you want to go with Burns', run, which it seems like was what they wanted to do, right? Why wouldn't you then just hire a much younger actress, and you use Mark Ruffalo, who
Well,
you have access to promote, and she's super excited about it being a hero. She's a young lawyer. She's just excited, happy, and effervescence. And Mark is trying to help her get control of herself, and then off she goes. Right? It
well,
could have been a lot of fun.
here's why. They only mentioned Burn because they know what the hook is. They're not completely stupid. They knew if they had said that was going to get them, because if they'd have been like, oh, we're going to go with the Mariko Tamaki She-Hulk, no, that would have been dead on arrival.
Right.
But Burn is the most known. It's the most beloved. It's it's the one that is most coveted. So they knew exactly which
Yeah.
one to say.
Yeah, no, I get you. We talked about this several times. I don't want to get into a She-Hulk thing again, but it's
Yeah.
the problem for me is it's very disappointing, Grimlock, because I actually would have loved a fun She-Hulk. I enjoyed She-Hulk comics when I was
Yeah.
young. I liked it, and I thought you
I
could have had
I
a
was
lot of fun with this character, dude.
I was genuinely excited until I heard Dana Schwartz and Jessica Gao was hired. Then all my excitement was
Uh,
taken away.
what I am surprised they didn't do was because I felt what they were doing was she's going through all these failed male relationships. Then she was going to find a woman, and that was the right one. I figured that's what they were going to do, but they didn't do that. Maybe that's season two.
Yeah,
They're
they'll
not
get her
getting
out.
season two.
Yeah, gay her out
They'll
for
get
sure.
her out.
But I mean, anyway, we've seen this nonsense. It keeps failing. Go woke, go broke. Get broke is a real thing. It's real. And California's going to legalize it. Good for you,
Yeah.
California. And California is a cesspool anyway. Just look. I mean, and I actually had this conversation with the adult Japanese class I have. These are Japanese people. And and the name of our movie is what DeWolf's talking about. But we were talking about the fact that when I was young, right, and at least these people are my age or older. When I was young, California was the Golden State, dude. Right? It was a
Yep.
beautiful place. It was wealthy and rich. It was the place to be, dude. Right? Now, fair enough. They had Republican governor over there at that time, and things were running pretty smoothly. And there were a few little things that popped up here or there. But in general, it was literally the Golden State, right? And look what's happened to it now. There are literally people shitting in the streets. There are drug needles all over the place in any of the cities, all over, right?
Yep.
There's rampant, hardcore poverty. They're losing business left and right. It is just in the span of 30 years has gone from the LA riots, which kind of kicked things off, and it's just gone downhill hardcore ever since. And I know a lot of people like, fuck California. All right, fine. But for me, it's sad. We've
Yep.
lost one of our golden American things, dude. Because keep in mind, even to this day, California is the fifth largest economy on planet Earth, the fifth, right? But they get that because all the shipping comes in. But at the end of every year, they're not in the black; they're in the red. They actually, it's the most bogus thing, and I apologize for the '80s appearing, but it's the most bogus thing because they start out as being the richest state in America from what they earn, and by the end of the year, they are receiving the highest amount of tax funds and assistance, lower than say Mississippi, who has nothing to offer. They have nothing, right? And they're dirt poor because of it. California, the richest, ends up the poorest every damn year. Whereas Texas is the sixth largest economy on the planet. And every year, what are they? In the black.
Yeah.
It's
Funny how that works.
insane. It's funny how a little
Um,
bit of good management works. Yeah.
well, it's also, I mean, the reality of it is that Republican governor you're talking about eventually became a Republican president,
He did.
and he betrayed the state, the Golden State, by giving them amnesty and flipping it forever
That's
Democrat.
true. He did. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as it is, in one of these articles here, they were giving me information. 41% of California is white. 40% is Hispanic. Okay. So here's the thing, though, with these tax credits and stuff, they do use the word ethnic racial, but what they mean is
Mhm.
black. And the
Yeah.
thing is where is more of your racial representation? They do have an Indian boy here playing Peter Pan, fair enough. But it's really all about the black. So it's like, well, why don't you just be honest and say that? You don't care about Latinos for sure. They don't give one shit about
They don't.
Latinos. They can't kind of are anti-Asian for some reason, right? Not as
Um,
hardcore as they are anti-white. They're certainly anti. They're not promoting the Indians or the Middle Easterners to any strength. They're not pushing the Southeast Asians. It's all about the black. So it's
yeah.
like, well, why don't you just be honest? We want more black people, and we're going to force you to do so. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah, but
understand
they
the
don't
subtlety.
really. They just want to see more black people, and
They
it's this
they
weird
want more
liberal
black people.
fetishization.
If they want more black people, get rid of Planned Parenthood.
Uh huh.
Yes,
That would help.
exactly.
That would help a
Uh,
lot. But I
it's
mean,
a weird, it's a weird liberal fetishization of black people. I don't
it
know
is
what it
weird.
is. I don't even have any idea why they have it, but they genuinely just want to see black people doing white people things.
It's fanatical, yeah. But I mean,
Yeah,
what a great time to be a black person in America, though. My goodness.
you
There are
would think
so
they'd be
many
very
opportunities,
excited.
so much money
Yeah.
coming at you, so much of everything. Everything is leaned toward you, including liberal white guilt. My God. If you're a black person in America and you're not just banging it out, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. I mean, honestly, if you're a
Yeah.
black person in America, every damn opportunity is leaning over backwards to give you money. I mean, the black people should be absolutely acing it in America right now.
I'll
Absolutely.
tell you the answer why they don't like Asians. It's because they make blacks look bad. That's it.
Why? They make us all
Because
look bad.
they're
What are you talking about?
yes, but every single argument that the black community has about oppression and all these things since the 60s or so, the Asians have also had in every possible metric, and yet they've excelled, whereas the blacks have not.
Yeah, but see, the
And it's
Asians
simply
don't sit there and say, "Oh, woe is me, give me."
exactly.
They don't do it. They get off their
Exactly.
ass and get
There's
it
no woe
done,
is me.
and then
And
and
it's not even just black people, it's American born black people that have this problem.
it is.
Because when
It's
you
true.
bring black people in from Africa,
Immigrations are
they're awesome.
hardworking. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But no, it's the mindset. It is the mindset. Because
Yep.
the Asians are like, "Fuck you! I make money, big America, better white man."
No, fuck you, my friend.
Mm. Or that, or that. The Muslims
Yeah,
as well. But
Probably.
no, that is
yeah.
generally true. Which is why immigration is a good thing and migration is a bad thing. Which is a different
Because for
conversation.
some reason we can't allow uh the bottom, to put it as nicely as possible, to realize they're the bottom. Because if they did, maybe they could fix it. And I'm not saying maybe as in like hypothetically. I'm saying maybe as in if these fucking people would get out of their way, they would fix it. And I truly believe that. I think the more we try to help the black community, as they call it, the worse it gets. So
Yeah,
maybe we
no,
should
I
just
understand.
let them sort it.
That
Let
is
them sort it
true.
themselves.
Malcolm X was very clear. The worst thing that ever happened to a black man is a white liberal. And that
Yes.
is true. But the thing is, they should embrace it right now while it lasts. I mean, honestly,
Yep.
if you're a black person in America, you should be taking advantage of all these opportunities and making your bank. You should be doing this. There's so
Yep.
much damn opportunity for you. Don't pass it up. But the problem is, I see so many of them are, and I don't
And the
understand.
craziest part, Chester, the craziest part to me is going back to where I was talking about the immigrants. like Nigeria, for instance. I talk about it all the time how amazing Nigeria is, how it defeats all arguments about racial supremacy that either direction you could ever make, whether for or against, because it should not be so successful as a country, but it is. They're doing pretty dang good, Nigeria, especially for an African country. They're doing really good.
Well, the upper
Uh,
echelon is.
yes. Well, that's how it starts, though. That's how you get to
Mm,
the point where you
oh
grow a middle
no,
class.
I'm about to have a trickle down economic conversation.
No, no,
Oh,
no, no,
oh
no.
God.
You're
Okay.
not, because that's
Okay.
not what I'm talking about.
Oh God. I
The
think I'm
way
gonna
you
pass
get
a
your
stone.
people, the way you get your people out of the muck is someone has to pull the cart. That's what works.
Oh, we going
And
back
by
to the cart
someone
analogy.
pulling the cart that's where it starts. So Nigeria is a perfect example. They have embraced market economics in a
Hmm.
way that, as far as I know, no other African nation has, and it's working because it works. It simply works,
We are
and it
seeing a
happens to
few
be working
little.
there too.
Are seeing a few little motes of success in Africa. We are. That is
Yeah.
fair. But we're not talking about Africa. We're talking about
But my
America,
no,
dude.
but we are though. We are though. Here's why. Because all of their arguments that they make about how it's, the reason why black people can't get ahead is it's unfair and it's systematic oppression and blah blah blah.
Hmm.
The reason why all that stuff's obviously nonsensical is because Nigerians come here and they do amazing.
Oh,
They do absolutely
Kenyans and
incredible.
Ivory Coast
Kenyans
and
do
yeah, a
incredible.
lot of South
Botswanans
Africans. Look at
do
that idiot that
incredible.
took over from Colbert. He's not funny at all, but damn, he's loaded.
Oh, he's making all kinds of money.
Yeah, he
My
is.
point though is it's not a black people problem. It's not a white people problem really. It's a black American problem. And as long as the other groups in America pretend that we can fix that problem,
Hmm.
it's going to stay a problem.
Yeah.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. They have been surrounded by excellence.
Yeah.
If we did in every facet, America for a very long time was the best
Right.
at everything. Now,
And
not anymore, but we were. And yet somehow
oh well, yeah,
they
we're
couldn't.
certainly
They
not
just couldn't
anymore.
get it.
That's true.
Yeah,
But I would like to point something out. When we look at Disney princess movies, which is kind of what they do, right?
yeah,
They've bought some things and are doing more now, but this is what they kind of classically do. And you look at all the princess movies they made. Each princess is set in their culture. They made one black princess, and she was set in New Orleans, and it was an
yes,
adaptation of the prince the prince and the princess and the or the princess and the frog, right?
yes,
You couldn't set that in Africa. You set it in New Orleans. So that is the only princess who's not in her culture. All the others are
correct.
set in their culture. And it's like, the racism of Disney.
You
It's
could have.
very simple. There's tons of movies. We've talked about this before. So many other people have talked about it. There are so many things you can make with a black princess, an Indian
Yeah,
prince or princess, wherever in the
Jester.
world, but they don't do it.
You could have had basically the exact same story and went to a place where they do have a black culture, the
Yeah.
Caribbean, and just it could have basically been the same story, but it would have been based in a much more ethnically appropriate location.
Right, or they could have just
Uh,
done it with one of the African nations of old.
yeah, yeah, but they
Could
won't
have made one.
because they hate these people. That's why. That's the truth of it.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't make any sense to me. I would love, and we've said this. All of us have said this. I would love to hear. So I would love a really good Shaka Zulu movie. In fact, like an
Well,
epic movie
he's a
by
villain,
about
though.
Shaka.
He's a serious
So,
villain.
so
Well, then you have to tell it right, though, not like this warrior woman
exactly.
thing
That's
and then lie to the
that's what
man.
I'm saying. It would have to
But
be good. For it to be good, it would have to be
why
honest,
don't
and
we
he's a
pick
monster.
something a little bit more, viable, like say the Kush, right? The
Yeah.
Kushites. We call them Ethiopians today, but they could not be defeated by the Egyptians, right?
Yep.
You have the old Sudanese, in their ancient time, they were very wealthy traders. You had I can't remember the name of that nation, but the king that came to the north to see the wonders of Egypt, and he brought literal wagons full of gold and just was throwing it out to the people like a Mardi Gras parade, right? There
Yep.
are African nations you can tell some pretty cool dynamic stories with, but they don't do it. They don't
Refuse.
do it because they're racist. That's the reality of it.
Yeah, I agree.
It is. And I do need to move along. I have to leave here, but I did want to kind of just show the last article and make a quick mention if you don't mind. Go ahead.
Shazam! Because there's an exclamation point.
Mhm.
Fury of the Gods director David Sandberg calls upcoming film a quote mini Avengers movie.
Ooh,
Oh joy!
that bad, huh?
Do these
Yeah.
people just stop throwing out the Avengers name?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, but it's
Can
also
we stop?
yeah. Well, there's a huge problem when you're referring your movie to being a lesser version of something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good. And that is the worst damn dye job I have seen, Mr. Levy.
Yeah, that's
Honestly,
not
you
great.
couldn't do better than that.
Well, I'm sure he didn't do it. I'm sure somebody else did it to him. But I've said this before and I'll say it again. I genuinely don't like the Marvel family concept or whatever they're called now because I don't think they can call them that anymore.
Well, the only one that's
Um,
cool is Mary, but she has a
yeah, I like
she has a
Mary.
great arc,
Mary's fine.
right?
But the rest of it, it's just it comes off like Power Rangers and like a bad version of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. How can he share his power with that many people and not become significantly weaker? How does that work?
Right. Well,
Uh,
and if they were in the first movie, I didn't like the last act. It was horrible. It ruined the movie. But however, okay, you bring in all the and doing the foster kid thing. All right, whatever. Right. Whatever. But if they in this movie were pushing the arc where Mary is like, well, hold on a second, and she starts heading down her path, and you led it down the path, and maybe gave her her own movie, let him do his thing, let her do her thing, and then have them clash in the end. That could have been
yeah,
really cool, dude.
yeah,
Foresight. Yes.
yeah. Oh,
Because
they won't
Mary
do that
Marvel's
though.
arc is one of the best arcs, dude, of any females in comic
She's
books.
very good,
Yeah.
very good. They won't do that though because then you have to make her a bad guy, you see. And we can't be having female bad guys fight male heroes without also having a female hero to fight the female bad guy.
Mhm.
Something sexism. I don't know.
Oh, well, and dude, she went real bad. She was so desperate for power, she made herself Darkseid's sex toy. I mean,
Yeah,
literally. That's how desperate for power she was. The absolute corruption of Mary Marvel. And it's a wonderful, it's a dark, wonderful arc. And the thing is, we haven't seen the redemption of it yet. Because they kind of just forgot and they just made cute little Mary Marvel again. But it's like, dude, finish that arc, man. Finish that.
yeah.
Bring her back to the light in a proper way. It would be awesome. Let's see. Captain Kennedy says, "I want a Disney princess movie about a black princess in Chicago that grew up to be the mayor." Ooh, zombie lady.
Oh,
Yeah,
she
what a
looks like
nightmare.
Beetlejuice. It's
That is her
creepy.
nickname. I just always refer to her as being a zombie. Jiminy says Mary and Freddie are fine. The other bunch of kids are just nonsense. A kid from every freaking racial group. Well, you gotta have one of every color these days. We just saw
Yep.
the it's now become law. Sweet.
Throw out
But
the Skittles.
a kid from every different group, but none of them have their own personalities. Stupid. Now, fair enough. That's what I mean. If you
Yep.
want to introduce it, okay, fine. But then, go off with it. He's this lighthearted, happy, joyous young man, boy, and she is, she's materialistic and power hungry, and
Well,
she
also
goes down that arc. Okay, great, right?
if you're gonna have him share the power of the wizard, because the wizard's name is Shazam,
Right.
you're gonna have him share the power of the wizard. Um, they should actually share the power. And what I mean by that is they should each have their own powers. It shouldn't be they all get all of the powers. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it is
Like
weird.
the whole thing, the whole premise of it's stupid. I have no problem with the idea that he can give the power to other people because it was given to him.
Mhm.
I have a problem with the idea that everything just stays the same for some reason. Like it's just a half of an idea is my point. It's a half of a concept,
Yeah, no,
poorly realized,
it
and I don't like it.
it
I've never
ruined the
liked it.
back end of that movie too with that nonsense.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't really mind the foster kid rewrite. I know one of every color. All right, fine, whatever. Right. At least the Asian chick was a hottie. But I really would like to have seen them, go the arc, because we talked a little bit about this with Hogwarts Legacy and the success it's having, and good for it. And the fact that Rollins and Warner Brothers were smart, they aged up the story with their audience. It was brilliance, right?
Yep.
Do that with him as Billy is growing up. Make it more serious. The first one was lighthearted, and the first part of the movie is great fun. It's what a kid would do. But as it goes forward, things get hard. Bad things happen, and Billy has to grow up, right?
Yep.
And Mary just goes down this horrible dark path. And there's a really great story they could have told here. A really good story, even with the changes and foibles. But no, we're not going anywhere near it, right? So whatever. I don't know. Grimlock, would you like to make a comment? Because I do need to get out of here, so you can go ahead and make the last comment.
Not really when it comes to Shazam. It was like okay. It did all right. I have no interest in seeing part 2 because DC is a fucking mess.
Yeah, it is fair. It is fair. All right, guys, thank you very much. Sorry for the shortness, but I do need to go. I've been kind of rushing all day, to be honest with you. But we will see you on Tuesday for Bugbear's Basement, and of course, we will be doing Bloody Poos on
Bloody
Jordan Court Ultimate
Poos.
Edition. Bloody Poos. Come and check it out. Don't take it the way I said it. You might be surprised at how cool Bloody Poos can be.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Usually, you
no.
see a doctor.
Yeah,
Usually,
it's recommended.
yeah,
Yeah,
recommend.
it's very recommended.
Yes, yes, yes. Of course, I am talking about Winnie the Pooh. Anyway,
Hey, she's got to go too.
that's true. And Piglet is absolutely terrifying. Anyway, go ahead, Thunder. Take us out of here, man.
Good men can have done bad things and still be good men. Goodness is not something you did or something you are. Good is what you do. Virtue is not passive. To be good, do good.
Fair enough. Namaste. Later, everybody.